has a little more ticks in the tank.
He got him. The Grizzly strikes out the Polar Bear. 3 straight strikeouts, 7 on the night for Skenes.
99 dotted on the outside corner. Nothing can do with it.
Welcome into Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche, joined as always by the Budman, Buddy Songy. It's hot outside. It's summertime. That's why we have the shades on. Happy to have you with us here as we tape on July the 9th. Hope everybody had a safe and very wonderful 4th of July. And welcome in, Budman. Great to see you, my man. A lot to talk about, so we welcome you in. Get out the gate real quick here on Tigers Roar.
Yeah, it is so hot outside, and of course we're all going to be watching the Weather Channel. To all of our friends over in Houston and the Texas area, Lake Charles, God bless you. Let's hope that they can avoid it, but it's hurricane season, it's hot, and it is talking season. JP, next Monday, Greg Sankey gives a state of affairs on the SEC, and then Brian Kelly on the stage first. LSU in the 10 to, I guess, 12:30 range with all of the different sites. So LSU Media Day, we'll talk about LSU football, what people are expecting, the do's and the don'ts about you getting ready to go to Las Vegas. A lot of people making that trip and spending mega bucks. It's a must-win game. Paul Skenes makes an All-Star, and folks, if you don't watch this kid, I am not a Major League Baseball fan to watch a lot of games from start to finish. Paul Skenes is must-see TV, and of course, congrats to Jackson and Jonathan Poche for the great year that they had once again playing ball this summer. So hope everybody's doing well, staying hydrated, and we'll get into what some of the expectations are going to be for the Saints and the Tigers this upcoming season.
Well, you saw the intro. Paul Skenes, first overall in the MLB draft. Of course, he's had an outstanding start to his career for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We do have a graphic. He was selected to the All-Star team for the National League with an outstanding start. 10 starts, has not recorded a loss yet. 5-0 with an ERA of 2.12. He's pitched 59 in the third innings with 78 strikeouts, Budman. You heard the announcer talking in that intro, 7+ per start. 78 strikeouts to 12 walks, gave up 48 hits and 14 earned runs. Paul Skenes, congratulations, making the National League All-Star game. There you see it right there, time and date. We'll be in Arlington, Texas. So once again, congratulations to big Paul Skenes. Staying on the topic of All-Stars, got to give a shout out to my son Jackson and his team, the 9-10 All-Star, the National League from Girard. Came in second place in the District 2. Battled a lot of illness. There was a virus that swept through the team. A lot of kids were kind of struggling with some illness, throwing up before games, and we absolutely gutted it through. But, man, this is one of the most rewarding coaching experiences I've ever had. Look, these kids were all National League, not a lot of travel ball kids. So kids that just play rec ball for the love of the game. And one, a short story, Jackson had an outstanding pitcher performance. The head coach gave him a game ball. Later in the night, I found out from my wife that Jackson actually gave the game ball to his catcher from the rec league. Okay, so he gave his game ball to another kid on the team. The following night, that catcher was player of the game, got a game ball, and he did the same thing in turn, gave his game ball to another kid that doesn't give a lot of playing time. So these are great kids. Got to give a shout out to the Girard Vikings, 9-10 National League All-Stars, second place in the parish. A great group of players, but better group of young men. And it was a pleasure to coach, Bud, man.
What a great story. You know, Paul Skenes is the same way. When he found out that he had made the All-Star, and this is the only #1 draft pick ever to get into the All-Star, the year after they got drafted. Of course, everybody knows he was 1, Dylan Cruz was 2, all the awards, all of the picks. And listen, I love my Ben McDonald and all the great pitchers that LSU has ever put forth into the major leagues. But I got a feeling, JP, if he can stay happy and healthy, he is going to be maybe one for the ages. The question is obviously, is he going to get run support? Last time out, 14-2 the Pirates. But I'm sitting here and I'm watching this game. I actually found the site, mytvapp.com, and saw him pitch. It is must-see TV, but here's the question I ask for you. Does he deserve to get the ball and start the game for the National League next week with the All-Star game?
I think he does, Bud, man. Rookie of the year, in my opinion, so far in the first half. The guy just has star power. 6'7", the mustache travels everywhere. Everywhere you go, you see people rocking the Paul Skenes stash. His warm-up routine with the football and the water pack, it gets, eyes on. Even his warm-up routine, Paul Skenes, great for the game. And it's been good for this lull between, college baseball and the start of football to watch the WNBA a little bit, to get to see Paul Skenes, to see Dylan Cruz develop in the minors. Dylan Cruz also named to the Futures All-Star game, along with one Trey Morgan. So, look, a lot of LSU flavor still out there. The Hard Knock series with the New York Giants, of course, was off through the offseason, and they had a #1 draft pick in Malik Neighbors, and they're all pumped up, excited about that. So LSU all over the map, even though Tennessee did win the College World Series. That Jello shot record still holding strong for LSU at Rocco's. It wasn't even cut in half, so a lot of LSU flavor still in the headlines. We'll talk about WNBA Rookie of the Year, talk between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, all that and a whole lot more on this episode of Tigers Roar. So we'll take our first break. Before we do that, I want to remind you guys, go check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. It has all the Tigers Roars, all the talking sports with Chris Powers, all the basketball show with the Southern University basketball coach Kevin Johnson. Everything we do for Pelican is right there on the YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. We'll take a quick break, come back with a whole lot more Tigers Roar. You're watching Pelican Sports TV.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Embrace the luxury, safety, and comfort of Mazda with 0% financing at Team Mazda. Right now, get 0% financing on any new Mazda CX-5, Mazda CX-30, Mazda CX-50, or Mazda CX-90. The savings are here at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
And we continue here on Tigers Roar. Jonathan Poche and the Budman, Buddy Songy here at Pelican Studios, Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Still doing live music on the weekends. come check it out. Great place to have some great barbecue at old school prices. Once again, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Well, we sit here on July the 9th, Budman, just around the corner from college football. And, of course, SEC Media Days will look a lot different this season, bringing in a couple new teams. No more divisions, so there won't be a pick on who's taking first in the West, who's getting first in the East. So 1 week from yesterday, July 15th, LSU will join Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt for day one of SEC Media Days. Head coach Brian Kelly, going into his third year at LSU, will bring along quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, linebacker Harold Perkins, and tight end Mason Taylor, three vital components of this 2024 LSU football team. So, Buttman, I ask you, were you surprised by the selections to bring to Media Days? I know there was one player you were kind of shocked that was left out.
Yeah, and we'll take the sunglasses off now because, folks, it is going to be hopefully a season that you are proud of.
Yep.
We wear the sunglasses on this show and many other shows when there are losses or things to repent about and feel bad about. A lot of optimism. It's talking season. I thought Will Campbell would be one of the three. I really think this is an excellent idea. Harold Perkins has not done a lot of media.
Yep.
Harold Perkins is going to be a first-round pick. And if you like the way Matt House utilized Harold Perkins, then you're one in a million, because most people didn't think he really had a handle on what he should do with him. Now it's going to be interesting. They have a bunch of pieces to the clay. Can they shape this thing? Can they come out as sculptors? I will tell you this. Kevin Peoples is doing a great job recruiting the edge. Bo Davis just got two big tackles coming in. Brandon Brown, about 6'1", 295, and Zion Williams.
How weird is that?
6'4", 315. These guys can play. Bo Davis bringing them in. These are for the 25 classes. So, JP, back to your assessment. Garrett Nussmeier says all the right things.
Yep.
Everybody knows he's the coach's son. He's been around ball all of his life. He's been in locker rooms all of his life.
Yep.
Now we got to figure out what he is best acclimated to do in year one. I keep saying this. People are going to compare him to Burrow and Daniels. Not so fast, my friends. Let's let him grow. So I ask you to start. Does BK and Joe Sloan run it a little bit more to run some more clock and keep that defense off the field? Because Nuss has got the arm. He's got the throws. But one thing that he has had a propensity to do is INT, so got to have ball security. But him, Harold Perkins, and Mason Taylor, I know you and I agree, this could be his money year. He could go after this year if he has a year with 45, 50 catches and 6, 7 touchdowns.
Yep. Garrett Nussmeier has the arm to make all the throws on the field. He's mobile enough to get outside the pocket, can throw the ball on the run. He's not going to be Jaden Daniels, of course. Jaden Daniels, reset the record book on, yards on the ground and in the game. There had been no FBS quarterback that had done what he'd done before in history. The offense is going to look a little different. When plays break down, I think Garrett Nussmeier is going to look to dink and dunk as opposed to tuck it and run. And that's okay. LSU has a lot of playmakers on the outside. Didn't lose much, even though you have, Thomas and Malik Neighbors going to the pros. Next guys are going to step right up with Chris Hilton and Kyron Lacey and Xavion Thomas. And you go through the list, it's going to be a very talented wide receiver core. And then you throw in a Mason Taylor, who kind of had a quiet year but was outstanding as a freshman. Of course, caught that 2-point conversion to steal the win in overtime against Alabama as a freshman in BK's first year with the Tigers. So, huge expectations. You look back to that Wisconsin game, 395 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did have that one interception with Garrett Nussmeier, and that's kind of the game you're going to get from the Nuss bus. You got a guy that has all the arm talent, doesn't mind taking a risk down the field, but will he be able to develop into the long ball passer that Jaden Daniels turned out to be? Because really, that was a highlight for Jaden Daniels in his last year with LSU. The year he won the Heisman, he was throwing dots down the sideline, and LSU really needs the long ball if they're going to compete. You asked me if they're going to run the ball more. If game situations allow them to run the ball, I believe yes. You hand the ball off. You trust that offensive line, which is a strength of your team. The 2 tackles are bookends. You know what you have in the middle. Running back by committee, I think, at first, before you find who the workhorse really is going to be. Of course, you get Josh Williams back, very smart player who is good out the backfield catching the ball. You can't get behind the sticks, Budman. You can't get behind on the scoreboard. If you're ahead on the sticks and you're not trailing by too much, by more than 10 points on the scoreboard, you're able to run the football. If not, you're stuck in this kind of one-mode offense where you're trying to push the ball down the field in chunks. And really, LSU is built to win that way, but they don't want to win that way. They want to shorten these games, keep that defense off the field if possible, because you really don't know what you're going to get. Blake Baker has to be improved over Matt House, but still it's unproven with this squad.
Yeah, it's always fun because, JP, you know how it is. Here it is early July, and people are thinking 9-3, 8-4. You get into the end of July, and now all of a sudden they're thinking 10-2. Right. You start to hear practice reports, and this guy's tearing it up. Oh, by the way, those wide receivers, Daniels is coming over from Liberty. Aaron Anderson needs to find his niche.
Yep.
Kyle Parker's a guy that many people aren't familiar with coming in. I mean, they've got wide receivers coming in. Jelani Watkins is as fast as it gets in college, but it starts with the offensive line. Will Campbell, somebody asked me about 7 and 18. Now, that was kind of weird when he got 7 last year. It was all because of what he brings to the table and how he handles himself and what he means in that locker room. But obviously, you know, he can't wear 7. He'll still wear 66 and have 7 on the patch. Emory Jones, I got a feeling Emory Jones is going to have a blow-up year. You know, everybody's talking about Will, but those are the 2 cornerstones to protect Nuss. Got to keep Nuss healthy and happy. Bring your rosary beads when you go to the game. Everybody knows 54 days away from the day, opening season in Vegas, big-time stadium against USC, and Lincoln Riley tried to get out of this game for about the last year and a half. I think LSU needs to go up there and open up a can of WA, and whoop is the W. You can figure out what the A is, most of you out there. We are a PG show here on Pelican.
That's right. That's right.
But Harold Perkins, back to him, you know, he just started doing a little bit of an interview at the end of last year. Dr. Tommy Karam works with all of the players, but this is necessary. I'm happy that Perkins, because he is not what we call a pro interviewer just yet. So, what kind of stats? If I said give me an over and under on Perk with tackles for losses and sacks, what would you say?
I would say at least 12 sacks. I'd say 30 tackles for loss. Perk is going to wreak havoc this year. The guy has something to prove. Wasn't used correctly in a lot of opinions, especially around LSU Tiger fans last year in the Matt House's system. He's going to move around. But, man, when you just let this guy off his leash and go get the quarterback, which I think Blake Baker is all about, he's going to absolutely wreak havoc. So, yeah, huge numbers from Perk this year.
Yeah, and the thing is, you've got to disguise. LSU did not disguise last year on defense. They showed up and they played the same thing they showed at the line of scrimmage. You're going to have some disguise, and you're going to have that cheetah package with your best 4 rushers. They're going to get after the quarterback. But you know that coaches have to do jobs. You want to accentuate your assets, and you want to cover up your liabilities and your weaknesses. And so there's still, folks, you gotta play smart, and you got to score touchdowns when you get inside the red zone. But I think the number one thing that we're going to see with this defense, can you stop the run right up the A-gap with your middle linebackers, with your D tackles, and with better safety play? So really, we're hoping that Baker and all of his staff, a whole new defensive staff. Remember, I wanted to do that bumper sticker and the T-shirt, clean house. Well, that's what they did. And so give these guys a little time. I'm thinking, JP, new coordinator with Joe Sloan, calling along with Hankton, new quarterback at Nuss, new defensive tackles. I'm thinking the fans have got to give this team 3 or 4 games to get on the path of what they're going to go to at the end. In other words, you can start, and as long as you get better, just beat USC. Because if you don't beat USC, Coach Kelly's going to find out just how ugly Baton Rouge can be. That is a must-win. They've lost 4 consecutive openers. BK's responsible for 2. O had the last 2. Got to win that game. Then you play Carolina the 3rd week at 11 o'clock in the morning. Another couple cupcakes. I'm calling UCLA a cupcake. You go 5-0 out of the gate, this town is rocking, and you've got an open date to play Ole Miss. On the flip side, you lose to USC, then you start to worry, my goodness, we don't want to see LSU start out slow. And Kelly has had a tendency to have these teams slow. So that, and can you stop the run right up the gut? Do they have the physicality with the big uglies on the defensive line? And then on the offensive line, you're going to pound people. You're going to physically pound people. And I think you're starting to see LSU's offensive line get closer and closer to that Notre Dame mindset where they're big, they're physical, and this is what we're going to do. Can you stop us? And then, of course, that's when you always play action and throw over the top to Karen Lacey with the deep ball.
And some other news, Jaden Daniels was awarded another prestigious award today. July the 9th, it was announced he is the SEC Male Athlete of the Year. Of course, a long-distance runner from Florida took the female side, but 2023 Heisman, the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm, the Campbell Offensive Player of the Year. The list of awards goes on and on, Bud, man. Not to mention, this is back-to-back years for LSU to win SEC Male Athlete of the Year. Last year, Dylan Cruz, the number 2 overall pick for the MLB, took home the award. So, great award. Obviously, a lot of renowned, prestigious LSU athletes have won it. Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq, Simone Augustus. Like, LSU royalty is mentioned in this breath. So, congratulations to Jaden Daniels. Well-deserved for what you did for the program, the SEC, and football in general.
Yeah, and look, he is the fastest quarterback I have ever seen at LSU. I know Carl Otis Trimble and Mike Miley, and going all the way back, they had some guys that could run. But this young man was phenomenal. The progress he made from 22 to 23, everybody knows he had a tendency to read his progression 1-2. If it's not there, tuck it and run. Interesting to see what Nuss is going to have to get into. And the thing that we always talk to quarterbacks about, has the game slowed down for you?
Right.
And he's only got one start. Joe Sloan has only started one game as the official offensive coordinator. Denbrock, of course, left to go to Notre Dame. And so I think people need to be a little patient, but the schedule sets up nicely. And, oh, by the way, as you alluded to, next Monday you'll start to see all of the coaches. BK, does he sell his team or does he downplay it? Well, I think he's going to sell it because, as we know, this kind of thing. Look, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss is going to be ranked ahead of LSU in the preseason. So is Texas. So is Alabama, and so is Georgia. Missouri might even be ahead. So LSU, to me, where would you think they get picked?
I think BK is going to downplay it a little bit, just
do?
because expectations are going to be so high. LSU is probably going to be ranked maybe in the top 10 preseason, but that's how much preseason hype this program is going to get. You had the Heisman lead, but Nussmeier showed a lot in that bowl game. Come from behind victory against Wisconsin. Still got Harold Perkins, a team that has the best home field advantage in college football. I think the furthest preseason ranking they're going to see is 13.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think BK is going to do his job a little bit and kind of temper expectations because, like you said, new coordinators, new quarterback, a whole lot of moving parts. You start 0-3 last 3 years in the first game. You're going back to a neutral site with USC. I don't think he wants expectations to be too high because LSU has not proven they're good week one yet. They have not proven it, and he cannot afford, like you mentioned, to get off to another 0-1 start.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're going to be anywhere from 12 to 14 on the preseason ranking. Of course, everybody knows I'm superstitious, so don't want to see 13, AP 13. That always craziness. But look, bottom line is that you're in year 3, and that brings up another topic that we get to in the summertime. Is Brian Kelly going to win a national championship at LSU? And here's the thing that has changed, JP, in a couple of years. When BK took over this job, you didn't have these kids coming in and saying, I want $1 million to play this year. You didn't have the transfer portal where you could have a guy on your team and all of a sudden he gets his panties in an uproar and says, well, if you're not going to start me, I'm going to go to Tennessee. You heard it? Yeah, that's Lance Heard. Bottom line is, what I'm saying is that it is a whole different landscape. And what I liked about BK in the offseason is he brought in a lot of younger guys. And I think there was a disconnect with some of the older coaches that were stubborn and hard-headed, getting back to that DC. We're going to play my system, and you're going to learn it if you want to get on the field. Right. Harold Perkins didn't start until the 7th game his first year.
Right.
Trust me, this is going to be a work in progress, but in year 3, after the last 3 football coaches have all won natties, so I ask you, how far away are they this year, and do you think invariably he wins one in this new landscape of college football?
I do think he wins one, Bud, man. It's hard to say when. I don't count him out this season. Certainly, if Nussmeier lights it up, there's no telling how far LSU can go, especially with the playoff scenario. You're not worried about, am I getting in with the S. All that's going to be working itself out in the postseason moving on from this year. So, yeah, is he going to win one? I do believe he is. Louisiana too talent rich in a home state, in a flagship program. You're not competing against any other university in your state to get the top premier talent. Bringing in younger guys. He's a coach that absolutely knows how to win, knows what it takes, the small, the little things, has his whole team buying in. He's doing it the right way. He built it from the foundation, started with that offensive line. Now it's a strength of the LSU Tigers. Brings a transfer in from Arizona State. Nobody really knows about Jaden Daniels. 2 years later, he wins the Heisman. Yeah, he's doing a lot of the right things. He's a great football coach. Louisiana, too talent-rich in football not to win the big game. The last 3 coaches at LSU have won. If you're going to tell me that Brian Kelly doesn't know X's and O's better than Coach Ogeron, I think you've been hitting the sauce a little too hard in the morning. But he's still trying to work his way around. And one of the off-season conversations have been Brian Kelly was, is he going to be able to recruit top-tier talent to LSU? And there has been some holes in this roster. You pointed one out, especially at D tackle. Budman, we've seen a lot of guys commit very recently. Right up front in the big uglies, you bring in Bo Davis, you bring in Kevin Peoples, 2 of the top defensive line coaches in the country. Has BK figured out how to recruit for this LSU team?
Well, here's the problem with all of that. If a guy says that I'm going to the highest bidder, then there's a high probability he's not going to be a Tiger. And I understand it. Of course, there was a lot of controversy when he said basically we're not going to pay for players. I think what he really meant to say is we're not going to overpay. Bryce Underwood has been committed, and trust me when I tell you, he's getting a lot of reasons, millions of reasons to come over here. And oh, by the way, if you hadn't seen him, he is probably the best prospect I've seen. 6'3.5", 6'4", 215, can make all the throws. But everybody's a star on 7 and 7. But he did have the Friday Night Lights, and they've got a lot of momentum with recruiting. But as we know, you got to get some DBs in here. Corey Raymond's got to have some big-time recruits.
Yeah.
I think they're going to fix the defense, but the question is, how quickly will it get there? Playing for the top 12 this year, CFP 12, how is that going to play out with the schedule? And as we know, you asking me, I think he's going to do a really good job of recruiting, but he's also going to do it a little bit differently because Oregon and Bama and Georgia and Texas A&M and Florida State and Miami and Ohio State, I mean, you can just keep naming them. They're all paying big bucks, and it's the hardest thing I think they've got going on right now. How do you keep the locker room from talking about that?
Yep.
Let's say that we just got this new show, and you're making $1 million and I'm making $100,000. Obviously, those are fake numbers, folks, like fake news. But that being said, I don't want to know. There's resentment.
Right.
And so with Will Campbell and Emory Jones, if they're playing and the first thing they say is, give me money, 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 that is the kind of leadership you need. And so it still is. Plus, you re-recruit your own team. Some of these kids come in after the year and say, look, I want more money with NIL. And that's, by the way, what Georgia's done. They're not paying that much money, but the ones that they get in, the 4 and 5 stars, they're making sure they stay happy. So, look, we all think and assume that BK is going to win one, but the landscape has changed appreciably. LSU is now part of the SEC, 16 teams. There could be a couple of more down the road. 2024, we know that it is 12 with the CFP. 2026, 14. So I'm thinking they're going to get picked number 6 next week when the media rankings come out. I do think that Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri will be all in front of LSU. And then you still have teams like Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas A&M, LSU. JP, we brag about the SEC, but there's going to be at least 10 or 11. Hey, we didn't even mention Kentucky. They're always, right. So it doesn't get any easier, but you Tiger fans are obviously going to have a lot of great home games. Look at that home schedule this year. It's about as good as it gets with Ole Miss and Alabama coming in, but open dates before them. So Tiger Stadium ought to be really loud this season for you Tiger fans.
We'll take another quick break here on Tigers Roar. We come back, we'll have some more NFL talk, some football from LSU. We'll talk about Livy Dunn, her announcement to come back to LSU, that and a whole lot more. You don't want to miss it. You're watching Tigers Roar right here on Pelican Sports TV.
Tremonti's has meat, Tremonti's has seafood, Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters, huge wine and liquor selection, beer and all the spices you need, Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats, ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs, 20 flavors of sausage for the grill, daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Caught spiders?
Premier Pest Services.
Few things in life are as valuable as family and peace of mind, especially when it comes to your final arrangements. And that's where Lee Serio can help. His prepaid funeral plans make sure your life will be remembered exactly the way you want it to. With Lee Serio, no detail is too large or too small. Call Lee or his wife Gretchen at 225-315-6329. Let Lee Serio give you and your family the peace of mind you all deserve.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
At the Team Automotive Group, we're turning Teacher Appreciation Week into a month-long celebration. Bring your teacher ID to any of our dealerships and save an additional $500 off of any new car purchase. It's our way of saying thanks for all you do in the classroom at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
And we continue here on Tigers Roar. We'll remind you guys, check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. It has all the Tigers Roars archived right there for your viewing pleasure. So while you're at the page, click the like, notification, and subscription button if you haven't done so already. It helps us with the algorithm, and you get notified every time we post something new right there at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Talking LSU football, Budman, do have some Walter Camp preseason All-Americans. Of course, we have a graphic. We'll ask Tom to go ahead and show that. First team right there, you see, left tackle Will Campbell. Second team honors linebacker Harold Perkins. So obviously, you're on the Walter Camp preseason All-American list. Expectations are through the roof, and you're a fine player. So LSU has a couple right there, but man, we're proud of.
Great that Nuss has two bookends, big uglies. I think Campbell and Emory Jones have both lost a couple of pounds. They're in the 320 range. Both of those guys are juniors, but you can expect them to be going. This is why there's so much a sense of urgency on offense, because your other two starters on the offensive line, Garrett Dellinger at left guard, Miles Frazier at right guard, they're seniors. They're done after this year. So LSU could lose 4 of the 5 starters. DJ Chester did redshirt. He is going to fit very seamlessly. He's a plug-and-play guy. Got a little cup of coffee last year, but didn't play enough to lose his red shirt. He's big number 79, and quite frankly, I think he's a bigger and more physical center. Charles Turner, as you know, struggled because he got bull rushed with bigger guys. But that all being said, they've got some depth. They've got some new. Brad Davis doing a fantastic job of recruiting. Then you get into wide receivers. We talk about that 7 or 8 deep, maybe even more, as we see the evolution of what they're going to do. And then tight ends, Trey'Dez Green. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago. Does he come in? Is he a tight end or receiving tight end? Mason Taylor, you know he's going to get his balls. Mac Markway, who had a great freshman year, and Kamorian Pimpton, Big number 88. You're going to love when you see 88 catch a ball and run afterwards. So a lot of good answers. I will caution you on one thing. Special teams in year 3. Let's go first 2 years with special teams. Give me a grade for BK, first 2 years in special teams. First year has to be what?
Oh, I'm not bad. I'd say solid B.
Well, no, that was the year with Poche and all the black kicks and all that, the fumbled punt.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Year 1 was terrible. Yeah, the muff. Yeah.
Year 1 was probably a C or C minus.
Almost wrecked Malik Neighbors for us. You're right. I forgot about that.
And then last year, but here's the crazy stat. LSU punter, Jay Bramlett, last year only had 2 punts returned for the whole year. A -1 yards. There's a battle with a kid coming in from Louisiana Tech with Peyton Tide. And Peyton Tide's been inconsistent. The key important thing on this also is not only on punt returns and coverage, but they generally are the holder. And you know how important the holder is on PATs and field goals. So I will say this, Xavier Thomas, I'm going to predict it. I've already done it, but LSU is going to return a punt for a touchdown this year, and it's going to be the Z-Man. I just hope there's not laundry on the field. So you're going to have a little transition. Damian Ramos is back to kick PATs and field goals. Of course, Nathan Dybert is going to have a battle with kickoff. But all that being said, JP, people don't put a lot of stock. Slade Roy is back again as another snapper. This is his final year. But man, oh man, you want this team to pick it up like they were at the end of the year. Every team is different. I just hope that they can start a little quicker this year. And I'm talking about jumping on USC from the opening bell and making Lincoln Riley wave the white towel, because Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson, we looked it up yesterday, 7 touchdowns in that game against Oklahoma in the Peach Bowl in 19. Almost 500 yards. I think he had another one that he got rushing. So, Nuss, it's your time. I'm excited to see what the Nuss Bus can do.
Yeah, but, man, I want to get your opinion. I've been asked a bunch of this offseason about that D-tackle position for LSU, and I've said, have faith. They're going to find their guy. They're going to be a plug-and-play kind of situation where it might be by committee, but they have talent. If you have an LSU uniform, you're an excellent football player. So outside of Jacoby and Guillory, who are some names that LSU fans might see get a lot of playing time early at that D-tackle spot?
Gia Paez is a kid from Wisconsin. He is a grad transfer. He's in the 300-pound range. He's going to get a look-see. Of course, Ahmad Bro is a freshman and has gotten picked up a bunch of weight. They signed him as a DN. He's going to move inside. Dominic McKinley. And then you talk about the guys that were out there and didn't really show much. Sean Washington, and you've got Kimo McAnally, Jalen Lee. Look, they've got the bodies.
Yep.
And this is where Bo Davis, considered one of the best, if not the best technical coaches in the defensive front, what can he get out of that team? This is why this stage right now, folks, is important, because they're not drinking daiquiris on the beach looking at girls. They are lifting tires. They're running stadiums. They're running the levee. They're working out. The freak of the week, Will Campbell, last week, they have about 7 or 8 weeks. I think they're in the 3rd week of the physicality. So 3rd year of Jake Flint being the strength and conditioning coach. Look, my big question, can you get, and Jacoby and Guillory, by the way, I've watched some of the film, he's got to temper his emotions. He gets the screaming reds and wants to fight everybody. You can't afford to get him a 15-yard penalty or tossed out. But lo and behold, they're probably going to end up with 4 that they interchange, and we'll see how bad they can hold. But you better find somebody that can stop that run on the A-gap, because if you don't, you're going to get gashed every weekend.
And outside, we talked about Harold Perkins, but who might be the guy on the opposite side that kind of balances out that side? You don't have to see a double team or a chip or a tight end or running back every time to Harold Perkins. Is it Swinson, Womack? Who do you think is going to step up and be that other guy?
Well, Swinson and Womack, and then all the guys that they've got coming in on the look, I don't think that anybody is, don't forget about Savion Jones.
Right.
You're not going to have any problem with the edge rusher. I think, as you alluded to, if you get decent play inside, now you got Greg Penn as a linebacker. You got both the Weeks brothers, and you got some recruits coming in. So, look, folks, right now we'll give you a little thumbnail sketch of it, but I cannot imagine LSU's defense not being appreciably better. Now, I want to see what they look like and some of the pieces. They've got a lot of new people coming in. You're going to need a program because there's a lot of new names and a lot of new numbers. But this this philosophy of getting after that quarterback and being aggressive and disguising, this is, I think, something that the fans are going to love it. Now, you and I know you blitz and you send pressure. You better have corners that can play on an island. And that's another subject we'll get into as we get into the dog days of summer, as we start talking about some of the corners and DBs. Got to play better. That was not DBU last year, JP.
No, communication is key in the secondary. I think Blake Baker will have his guys communicating better, having all the parts of the field coverage, make sure we know which coverage we're in. So, yeah, I think Baker's going to solidify a lot of that. Let's take another quick break here on Tigers Roar. We'll come back for our last segment. A few more topics to toss around, Livy Dunn and the WNBA included. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss it. You're watching Tigers Roar right here on Pelican Sports TV.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
At the Team Automotive Group, we're turning Teacher Appreciation Week into a month-long celebration. Bring your teacher ID to any of our dealerships and save an additional $500 off of any new car purchase. It's our way of saying thanks for all you do in the classroom at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
And welcome back to Tigers Roar. We appreciate you tuning into this episode. If you missed any of this episode of Tigers Roar, go to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Our intro and in our first segment, we talked about Paul Skenes, former LSU pitcher, selected first overall in the MLB draft, was selected to the National League All-Star team, has the most strikeouts of any rookie through his first 10 games, has gone 10 games without a loss. He's 5-0. And some would say that's not the most impressive thing about Paul Skenes. Some would say it's that he still hasn't fumbled one social media influencer / national champion gymnast, Miss Livy Dunn. Has not fumbled the bag yet. Livy Dunn still with Paul Skenes, and Livy Dunn took to her Instagram, her social media, to inform her millions of followers she's coming back. We do have the picture right here from LSU. Livy Dunn announces she's coming back for her final season at LSU for gym. Budman, is this a big deal?
Well, it's always a big deal. By the way, behind every great man is a great woman, and these two have been, you know, everybody talks about Travis that
whoever, Swifty. Yeah.
But anyway, there was just so much NFL with that couple. But Livy Dunn and Paul Skenes are the LSU couple that have been going on for about a year. And she had the condo all spruced up with the Allstar. That's big news. But this kind of says a lot about Livy Dunn in that, number one, she's been hurt a little bit the last year or so she didn't have as many opportunities. They're talking about the national championship, and Haley Bryant and Ballard and everybody's coming back now. Livy Dunn coming back, so Jay Clark's got them really going well. But she's making a lot of money right now, and you got to realize that when Livy Dunn and Flaugier and Angel Reese and all those women come over here, and they're at the forefront of making as much money as anybody in the country with NIL, and we're talking female athletes, it's kind of hard to turn down. Now, her and Paul seem to be very tight. They're very close. And, yeah, that would be interesting if they broke up, how much that would affect him. I'm not thinking that's going to happen anytime soon.
Hope not.
But happy to have Livy Dunn coming back. And once again, Jay Clark and the Tiger Faithful will be – they led the country in attendance again. So, look, Livy is, despite all the things that about her looks and her personality and her body and all that, she is a smart young lady, and she knows how to play the game.
Absolutely.
And I think she has been nothing but positive PR for LSU. Now, there was a little hiccup when she promoted an AI thing about a year ago, and they fixed that situation up. But look, I see her on TV all the time.
Yeah,
she
right.
and Angel Reese are bigger than Baton Rouge. They're national stars.
No, she's starring in commercials all over the place nationally. And look, she competed in 9 events, 9 meets this season. You mentioned she did struggle with some injuries, but she came out and said this past season, renewed her love for gymnastics. Great for LSU. All the eyeballs she brings to not only the gym, the gym meets, but on social media and everything she posts gets millions and millions of views. So absolutely a good thing for LSU, on top of bringing back a very talented roster, trying to go back-to-back national championships.
Yeah, I think her high this year was 9-9 on the floor.
Yep.
And so, look, Haley Bryant, you've heard me talk about her. She's as classy as it gets. She's coming back. And, of course, now with Livy and the rest of them. I didn't hear from Kia Johnson. I'm not sure if she's going to come back for another year. But Jay Clark and the Lady Tigers, man, you talk football, but gymnastics starts in January, and they do a great job. But a real good PR situation. Once again, LSU gets so much pub. JP, we've been talking about this on the radio show. Look at the football guys that have LSU backgrounds that we will start to see ad nauseum. Marcus Spears, Booger McFarland, Ryan Clark. In baseball, you got Todd Walker, Ben McDonald, Jared Mitchell. I mean, look, every time you turn around, you got great representation, and that LSU brand is alive and well.
Yep.
But you still have to juggle, regardless of what coach you're coaching. You have to juggle. How much does this one get on NIL? How much does it influence your locker room?
Good point.
And look, it's one thing to have egos and talent, but you got to have them all on the same page. You were talking about the great story with your son and the catcher. That's what it's all about, folks. You got to have a team together. Everyone accomplishes more. And we'll see. Look, Jay Clark, now, they did get a break when Oklahoma had a hiccup and won in the Final Four.
Yep.
But how cool is that with Oklahoma and Texas coming in now, what they bring to the conference in softball, in gymnastics, in baseball, football, basketball. This is going to be a monster year for you Tiger fans. And pinch yourself, pinch your better half. It's around the corner, folks.
So the WNBA has gotten more eyes on brand than ever in history before. It's mainly due with one Caitlin Clark, the best rookie basketball player, in my opinion, that ever graced the WNBA. But there has been talk. Who gets the WNBA Rookie of the Year? Really, it's come down to 2 selections. You see it right there on the screen. Good job. Angel Reese for the Chicago Sky and Caitlin Clark for the Indiana Fever. I'll give you some stats real quick, Budman. As of July 5th, Points per game, Caitlin Clark leads. She has 16 points per game as opposed to Angel Reese, 13.2. Assist point games goes to Clark, 7.1 as opposed to Reese, 1.9. Rebounds per game, Angel Reese has 11.8. She's now set the WNBA record for consecutive double-doubles. A lot of credit to Angel Reese for doing work on the boards. We continue. Turnovers, Caitlin Clark has more, 5.6 a game. Field goal percentage, Caitlin Clark leads with 39.1 as opposed, Angel Reese leads with 39.7 as opposed to 39.1 of Caitlin Clark. Free throw percentage is Caitlin Clark, 88.5, double-double. She has 5, while Angel Reese had 11 on the 5th. Now she has 12. Look, it's neck and neck, bud, man. Stats are not that far apart. But if you're asking me who the rookie of the year is, hands down it goes. I'm a big Angel Reese fan. She's an LSU lady. Hands down it goes to Caitlin Clark. She's changed the way the game has played. She's changed the notoriety that the WNBA gets. People are actually watching the games in this break, waiting for football. She's changed the game. There's no question in my mind. Caitlin Clark, rookie of the year.
And let's be honest, folks, the WNBA is still going to lose millions, just like LSU basketball. LSU basketball is the loss leader product, but the PR that you get in the sold-out arena and all the stuff that you reap from having Kim Mulkey and a Natty, everybody knows that these two ladies up on the screen have changed women's college basketball. Can they sustain that popularity? I will admit that I have watched more WNBA than ever before. In fact, in the opening game, I want to say Caitlin Clark had 10 turnovers in the opening night. Very nervous. They're playing her physical. They're muscling up on her, and as you can see, she's smaller than Angel Reese. But here's the big question that I have from people. Did people think that Angel Reese's game would translate to a double-double? Because everybody knows she's not the greatest of shooters. Well, she worked on the three-pointer. She had a game last week where she was 2 for 2 with 3 balls. And how many double-doubles in a row? 14 or 15. She set the record. So, look, I don't think you can go wrong. Both of those young ladies are on the All-Star team. They will play against the Olympic team coming up here. And, oh, by the way, Haley Van Lith, who's now at TCU, is on the 3-on-3 team going to the Olympics.
And who else made that 3-on-3 team, bud, man?
Go ahead.
Michaela Williams, outstanding guard for LSU. She can handle the rock, she can shoot it. She's going to get a lot more experience here now in this 3-on-3 tournament. We saw Haley Van Lith do it last year, and it really elevated her game, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, but Haley's playing in the Olympics.
Oh, no, that's right.
And then Michaela Williams. Now, look, women's basketball has a great chance to do some great things, and as you and I were talking off the break, expectations are through the roof each and every summer. I see it like clockwork. The closer it gets to, oh, by the way, Tiger footballers report on July 31st and start practice on August the 1st. Their first game is September 1. And here's something, a little topic to talk about. The transition from CBS all those years to ABC. Are you excited? The times look to be the same. Gary Danielson, good luck calling Indiana and Minnesota. Good luck. And look, everybody knows Danielson kind of fell out of favor with the team. CBS does a great job of production, but interesting, all of our ABC friends, Ed Daniels, New Orleans, Cobble over here, they're excited because this means big buck for their stations.
The Louisiana All-Baseball Team Awards were announced. LSU took home 4 of 5 major awards. Of course, freshman in Stephen Milam, newcomer and pitcher in Luke Holman, and hitter in Tommy White. LSU Eunice head coach Jeff Willis took home the Louisiana All-Baseball Team Coach of the Year. But, man, before we go, I want to ask you real quick. Coach Paul Mainieri, former LSU World Series winning champion, has been announced as the South Carolina Gamecocks head coach. We talked a lot in this program about the changing of the landscape with NIL and paying players and juggling how to re-recruit your kids back to the program. In your opinion, and we know Coach Mainieri has won more games than practically everybody. He knows the X's and O's. But in your opinion, how will Coach Mainieri be able to juggle this brand new landscape at 65 years old after taking 3 years off of baseball, not coaching, had his health issues? He says he's okay, but how is he going to manage this new landscape?
I think that we talked about with Kelly bringing in a younger staff, and Mainieri's already been asked that. By the way, we had Coach Mainieri on the show 3 or 4 weeks ago, and this was before we had any idea. And at the end of the interview, I asked him, I said, are you done? Are you still hungry to coach How much do you miss it? And of course, he talks about the relationships and the development of players. He doesn't like the recruiting, as we saw. It's hard to recruit these kids now. It's a new day and age with everybody wanting so much money and so much guaranteed starting spot. And what's my role going to be? You're going to develop me, all that. But I was shocked. He just finished getting paid by LSU, and now all of a sudden, JP, we need to find his agent. He gets a 5-year deal, making $1.3 million a year. So that's another $6.5 million that he's got coming. Most people do not think he will last more than 2 or 3 years at Carolina. He will do a good job. He will reestablish Carolina because he does a great job with immediate interaction. All the people in the media love him. He knows you by your first name. He's going to get people to look at his program. But if you think, I can't say anything more than he's going to struggle to keep up with Tennessee and LSU and Arkansas and all the big boys, Texas A&M. Tony Vitello wins it. They're not going anywhere. Jay Johnson, once again, a lot of transfer portals, but middle of the pack for Paul Maneri, but he's still hungry. He still wants to make money. And when you're getting $1 million for what you love to do, it's kind of hard to turn down, even when you're 60-plus years old.
Completely agree, but man, he handled himself with such class here in Baton Rouge. Not only did he win a championship, but everybody he dealt with, he treated with class, with respect. So everybody had positive things to say about Coach Maneri. X's and O's, he knows the game, he knows how to coach it. He builds those relationships with the players love him. Look, he recruited Dylan Cruz to LSU before he left. The guy was able to get it done at the highest level before he had to walk away for health reasons, but that's all behind him, he says. He's got a new outlook. The only problem I see, Bud, man, is South Carolina has what we call unrealistic expectations. They expect to win every single year. They were the last team to go back-to-back in national championships, so they expect to win it every single year. If they're not eating Omaha steaks in Omaha, they're going to be pouting in their Cheerios. High expectations for South Carolina. I don't know how long Coach Maneri can last without bringing a national championship.
But not higher than LSU or Tennessee or A&M or Arkansas right now. Poor Arkansas still has not won a national championship. I'm not sure if Van Horn's going to win one before he retires. That all being said, look, everybody likes and respects Paul Maneri. Does he have much gas left in the tank? He loves the hit and run. Yep. He's going to implement some of his things. And JP, here's the other thing that we wrap up with. As a 65-year-old plus guy, what does he handle versus what does he bring in his younger coaches to handle? NIL, recruiting, discipline, all of that stuff. Terry Rooney, who has been a great coach and has been with Coach Maneri a couple of different stops, he went morning with them to Carolina. And, of course, as we know, Jay Johnson has tweaked his staff again. But, man, that LSU baseball is in competition with all those teams. You saw this is the greatest year ever, 5 making it in the top 8. So, but, yeah, yep. I'm with you. Carolina be middle of the pack probably.
We certainly appreciate you tuning into this episode of Tigers Roar. If you miss any of this show, go check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. All the Tigers Roars are archived right there for your viewing pleasure. So while you're at the page, click the like, notification, and the subscription button. It helps us with the algorithm, and you get notified every time we post something new right there at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. For the Bud Man, I'm JP. You've been watching Tigers Roar right here on Pelican Sports TV.